All right, Deftones Minerva. Just a heads up on this one. Basically, you want to do a drop D tuning and then take everything and go even a half step further. So we're going to be at like a D flat, a drop D flat. So we'd be at D flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, E flat. Okay. So like I said, just like a drop D tuning, but then even a half step further. And that's if you want to try to, match exactly the key of the recorded version. I'm sure if you just did a normal drop D, it wouldn't be that big a deal. So I'll be playing it just as the recording went. And we'll kick it off with the intro. And this intro also is the outro. So when you get to the very end, this is what's happening there. Okay, so it's going to start off with this kind of cool little high-voiced chord going on here. It's going to be just bits and pieces of a technically now we're in drop D flat. It's a D flat 7 suspended 2. Okay, if you wanted to know that. So we're going to form kind of a power chord thing here at the 12 on the D string and the 14 of the G. I know they're dropped, but still I'm just going to refer to them as normal. Okay, so we're doing that, and we're going to strum a couple of those. All right, and then we're going to pop up to 13 on the B string, and then about every 4 strums just hit an open E with that. Okay, so we're just going to kind of mix in. Okay, so like we're just doing the top half of it, a few strums, and then we'll just hit the high parts of it. 14, 13, open. Okay, and you want this kind of like a muted, kind of subtle tone. You don't want it like total full throttle yet. It's just kind of nice, quiet little part here. Okay, and the main riff here and the verse, basically, it's a little more full tone, full volume now. Everything comes in big with it. Really big sounding atmosphere on this. So we're going to come up here and do these style of chords, which they do a lot in like Deftones songs, I notice. This here will be at the 10 on the A string, quote unquote A string, and then 12 on the G. Okay, and we're hitting the open drop D with that too now. So okay, you don't need to worry so much about this second D string here in the middle. You can just kind of hit a dead note with that. Okay, and this would be a D flat suspended 4. Basically, that's going on here. All right, we're just gonna do a few strums on that. And then we come up 2 frets now. Take just what we were doing there, just bring it up 2 frets. So we're at the 12 on the A and the 14 of the G now. And that's just a D flat 5 basically. Still hitting that open string, just open string throughout this whole thing. Top string, sorry. And then, so we'll hit one of those at that very last count of the first measure, and then we'll do 4 more into the second measure. So we went. All right, and now we finish it off by going to just a D flat, but we don't do a 5th with that. So it's just we're just doing this unison where we're at the 9 on the A and the 11 on the G, and we're going to do that for 2 measures. Okay, so basically 8 strums altogether right there. Okay, and we just repeat that whole thing. Okay, and by the time we get to the second and third verses, there's a second guitar that it's a little faint, but it's there, and it's just this really kind of just repeating alternate picking here. We're at the 10 on the B and the 11 on the G, and we're just going between that, the 10 and the 11, about 4 times per measure. Okay, nice and simple there. It's just a little supplemental accent thing that happens. Sounds kind of cool. All right, and the chorus, it's going to be a little different the first and second times around. The first time we go through it, we're just going to rest after the second chord. Okay, so I'll point that out here once we get there. So it'll start off here with what's a G flat suspended 2. Okay, so we're drop tuning, so we just bar the 5th here, but put a 7 on the D, on the high D here. Okay, and we just strum that. Do 2 measures worth of this. Okay, at about 1/8 note strums. All right, and from there we just come down to the 2nd fret and just do the 2nd on the D and the A now, so that we're just doing a D flat, or a E flat 5. Okay, a couple measures there. Okay, and in the first chorus, at this point, we just rest. All right, but once we get to the second and the third chorus, we continue on with it by just doing open, a couple of open strums on the D flat 5. Okay, we do 4 measures worth of this. Okay, pretty straightforward. And there's a additional second guitar element that comes in there I'll get to after this, during that D flat 5 section. So, but once we're going through that second and third chorus, okay, from after we do that D flat 5 part, we just go back and do the first 2 chords again, and then we stop. Okay, so then we go back to the G flat suspended 2nd. Okay, to the E flat 5. Okay, so just to put it all together for, once we're doing it the second and the third time here. Alright, and as I mentioned before, the additional guitar part that comes in, and I suppose, if you were really smooth, you could try to pull this off during your strumming of that chord, but it always seems like it gets drowned out whenever I try it, so it'd be nice if a second guitar does this. But what it is it's just once you get to that D flat 5 open part of the chorus, okay, there's another guitar that comes up here, and it's just kind of doing this bend at 14 of the E, and it's just bending and releasing it repeatedly for a couple measures, and then it'll do it again. Okay, so that's what that's doing. And like I said, if you're pretty skilled, I guess you could try to do it while you're doing that chord, but it kind of gets drowned out. So it gets a little lost in there, so you probably want another guitar like boosting it and playing it along with it. Okay, and there's a little interlude section there that happens in the middle. It's kind of just a variant of the intro. You're basically doing a similar thing, but instead of doing a 12 on the D here, you can just do an open string, and you're just kind of strumming everything all together. You're not really trying to be subtle and go with, top versus bottom parts of it at all. You're just kind of strumming the whole thing. Okay, so it'd be like this with the open D, 14 on the G, 13 B, open E. Thanks for checking out the video, everybody. Like it, share it, leave a comment. It's always good to hear from you. Do me a favor and hit the subscription button. I put out a video pretty frequent, so you don't want to miss out on that. Check out the links in the description box below. I have really cool links for tablature books, all the gear I use, t-shirts, fun stuff like that. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.